When you eat a fruit, remember the one who planted the fruit tree. Hello, and welcome to the Studio 5 Anti-Clinical Studio Review. My name is Jacqueline Lund, and my partner is Johnny English. Our research began by looking at Aurora as a territory before Aurora even existed on the map, when the only ways of identifying the Salud site, as it is today, was from the intersections of a river and a rural highway, that of the Highline Canal and Colfax Avenue. Colfax and the Highline Canal are central arteries of our site's past, present, and future history. Historically, Aurora grew out of Denver's eastward expansion as more settlers made their way west and developed the prairie land around Denver, where Native Americans once called home. Colfax grew considerably from its status as a rural highway into the main transportation line for residents as a point of local identity. At the same time, the Highline Ditch received a name change to the Highline Canal, while retaining the same distinctive meandering course, feeding the greenery slowly along its edges. As Colfax will continue to play a vital role as a transportation network to connect patients with their health at Salud, we ask ourselves, what alternatives might the Highline Canal offer? As we imagine Aurora doubling in size by 2070 and celebrating Salud's 50th anniversary, we must ask ourselves, how are we designing for Aurora's today as well as tomorrow? How might we still develop human health while at the same time preserving ecological health for the next generation? I present to you this. We believe the connection to nature is a human right, and that everyone deserves to enjoy and share it. Our site recognizes the power of the Greenbelt to the north along the Highline Canal and Sandy Creek Trail, and attempts to pull the Greenbelt onto the site. By preserving native prairie along the Greenbelt, we are able to preserve local habitat as a means of elevating human experience and ecological health through the intersections of built environment and landscape. We analyzed a 2-mile radius through the lens of community, education, food, and health. In our findings, we identified a library scarcity within our site's vicinity. Our site is also limited in its nearby opportunities for exercise, as well as access to fresh food, minimal health, and alternative healing. Aurorans are most notably known for the diversity of its citizens. Rather than see these differences of nationality or ethnicity, Aurorans take pride in community and what it means to live here. Housing the largest population of refugees and immigrant families, Aurora holds 137 different spoken languages. Our vision for the health center was to acknowledge the power of Aurora by designing a master plan that invites the visitor to stay. A community that cares about one another inspires us to consider how a health clinic might be able to serve more than just treatment. Our concept is derived by 4 simple steps: connection, addition, grid, and shift. Through this process, we were able to push forward through diagramming by establishing parameters, boundaries, hard edges, permutation, extension of grid, flow, and then finally circulation. Through these iterative processes, we were able to shift things and create pockets.
We wanted housing to be supported by the existing neighborhood to the south, while locating access to food and health services near the bus stops along Colfax. As Jackie mentioned previously through our iterations, the grid helped us to establish our program as inextricably linked to the Greenbelt. Additionally, it provided us with a fixed module that would allow for us to readily adjust our building in order to accommodate changes in program requirements without sacrificing the program's relationship to the Greenbelt. In envisioning food within the Salud community, we imagined a market on the northwest corner of the site that provided local produce conveniently close both to the farm and the bus stop. The nearby farm provides locals with the opportunity to grow their own food, benefit from farmers markets and education about nutrition, and provide spaces for public and private events throughout the year. We thought that in addition to serving as a culture and food generator, the farm might also act as a financial revenue generator for the community through attracting visitors to the site and potentially redistributing some of the revenue to community members as shared stakeholders of the land. To the south, we wanted the neighborhood to be tucked into the existing neighborhood while creating a neighborhood of its own. The housing blocks shift themselves along the same grid, providing terraced occupiable spaces that connect neighbors with one another, as well as with the green space around them. The housing neighborhood is organized around the Greenbelt and supports a children's playground directly alongside the trail. To the northeast, we wanted to respect the power of the community by providing a place for the community that we envisioned in the form of a library. The library provides a free, safe place for people to feel welcome, attend an event, or educate themselves on a topic of their choosing. Across the plaza from the library, we envisioned an entrepreneurial village, which translated into a cluster of buildings where tenants live above their first business on the ground floor, but are supported by the local library as a business development resource. Ultimately, our placement of the clinic was in response to the strength it would lend to these other programs in the master plan, while effectively maintaining its placement on the northeast corner as a beacon for the community. Our design development of the first floor was guided primarily in response to considerations around COVID. The acute respiratory building is placed to the south, where it is immediately accessible to sick patients, while limiting the chances of exposing others to these patients as they seek care. The Child Care Center and Information Desk are at the opposite side of the building, providing services for parents during their appointment, as well as providing a welcoming space to the family clinic on the first floor that sits within the center of the clinic space. Telehealth and educational spaces are distributed throughout the building to provide learning opportunities for future practitioners across discipline. The second floor locates family dentistry above the family clinic, with childcare, waiting room, telehealth, and educational spaces distributed around it. Most importantly, we wanted to advocate for the increased benefit that counseling and other mental health services could lend to a clinic model devoted to trauma-informed design among its Medicaid and Medicare patients. The CDC has found that COVID-19 has led to marked increases in rates of depression and mental health disorders. Particularly, those suffering the most have been found to be among minority racial ethnic groups, amongst unpaid caregivers, as well as amongst essential workers. Our design ultimately recognizes the deep value that Aurorans could derive from more clinic square footage space through a model that recognizes trauma-informed design by treating mental health with as much value and dignity as physical illness.
In closing, we'd like to thank you for your time and look forward to the conversation on Thursday. Thank you.